Hey everyone, this is Kenlin and your transmission for the full moon in Virgo. Virgo rules healing. And so I wanted to do this transmission because I am in the middle of a healing event, and that's why I'm off camera. I'll tell you about that in a moment. But I'm recording this the day after the exact of the full moon in the sign of Virgo. But we're still in the frequency of it. And there's a transit that's happening with Chiron conjunct the North Node in the sign of Aries. And that's going to take us through at least the solar eclipse in April. So we're really in a frequency of healing. Earlier this week, I had dental surgery, which was so intense, as dental surgeries are, that my face is bruised and swollen. I'm very happy about it. It turned out great, and it will be great. And I get to walk through the paces of healing. And just like all levels of physical healing, there's emotional and spiritual healing that go alongside. I don't think that we can separate those, because we are really one body, our subtle body and our physical body. So I've been unpacking just a lot of layers of what this healing time means for me. And I invite you to do the same, because Virgo rules healing. So there's a very good possibility that you are experiencing some kind of breakdown that leads to a healing, like a healing crisis. If you've ever taken homeopathy, sometimes you can have a healing crisis, or like when you detox, you actually get worse before you get better. So Virgo rules the body. It rules our embodiment. It's opposite Pisces, which rules our unconscious and universal oneness. So here we are, oneness juxtaposed with particularity, Virgo. And this is the axis of heaven on earth. And sometimes dental surgery does not seem like heaven on earth. So many things don't seem like heaven on earth, but our job isn't necessarily to bring the uh, rainbows and butterflies, although they're nice to have every once in a while. It's really to bring the inner sense of the kingdom of heaven inside our hearts, as expressed every day in our world. And I had that sense, honestly, it was kind of crazy to me, but as I was being worked on with my teeth in kind of a vigorous manner, I felt this incredible sense of gratitude. Like, wow, this person is a master. And I am so blessed that I am, uh, under the hands of a master. And just like, our embodiment, there are many, many things that we have to do on this planet to keep our bodies going. Replacement parts is what I like to call it as we get to a certain age. And so Virgo rules this. And that's a way to bring heaven on earth, is through our sense of gratitude, our sense of connection with the all, Pisces. So I want to talk about a few things about Chiron. So Chiron, I love. I did a study of Chiron, the wounded healer, when I turned 50, because when you turn 50, you have your Chiron return. It happens maybe between 49, 51. My Chiron return was like, because of all the retrogrades that were happening, my Chiron is in Pisces, and it retrograded a few times. So I think I had a year and a half of my Chiron return. And when you have a return, remember, like your Saturn return, it means that that celestial body, because Chiron is a celestial body, not a planet, comes to the exact place that it was when you were born. And in mythology, Chiron is known as the wounded healer. So it's said that when you have your Chiron return, you experience the wounds of your childhood. So interesting. You have a chance, like at 50 years old, think about it. You have the chance to revisit the wounds of your childhood, to clear and complete them once and for all. And that indeed happened to me. And it could be because I had this context. And so I was looking for it. But I had a huge mother wound, and I invited a partner into my life, a person into my life who represented for me my mother and the mother wound. And I had an opportunity to be for myself who I could not be in that constellation when I was younger. So while it was messy and not fun, it was also really an important step in my sovereignty. Speaking of sovereignty, Virgo is also known as the Virgin. And the understanding of the Virgin isn't celibate or sexual absence or not having had sex. The Virgin is known as the maiden who is complete unto herself. I love that. That is sovereignty. So when she chooses to partner, she partners from this place of sovereignty. And that could be one of the things that it's being healed inside of you right now. Because let's go back to Chiron. So Chiron is a centaur raised by Apollo. And so he takes on a dignity and a wisdom that far surpasses other centaurs. He's proficient in medicine. He can heal others. Others call to him. He's immortal because of his parents. So he's really got a beautiful stature, but he gets wounded in one of the wars. And it's also said that he was a child of rape. So he was also wounded at the beginning. So in his incarnation, he was wounded, and he was wounded physically in a war. And the thing about Chiron, the reason why he's the wounded healer is that after all the ability to support other people and heal them in their wounds, he was not able to heal himself. And that's often the archetype of the healer. We come into our healing profession because we ourselves need healing. You know, that's said of many, many therapists. People become therapists because they need therapy, and they want to study the mind and study psychology and the ways of the mind and the ways of the psyche, the ways of the heart, the ways of the spirit. Maybe that's how you adopted your own healing modalities. It's because you sought out shamans and healers and energy workers, and you felt the transformation. And then you were like, I'm now called to do this. This is a very Chiron archetype. And so there's some dignity in being the wounded healer. There's some humility in it. And I think that goes really well with the gene key that's happening right now. And that's gene key 37 in the Siddhi, Siddhi, the ultimate frequency of tenderness. So I think that humility is a portal to the tenderness, and that's where the sun is shining right now. And the moon has moved into gene key 40, which is its programming partner, and that's the shadow of exhaustion and the city of divine will. So those are beautiful, like, pillars to presence in this conversation. But going back to this conjunction, which means this, I like to look at it as a kiss. they're acting as one. This Chiron and the North Node in Aries. So Chiron is in Aries. So if you're 49, 50, 51, your Chiron is in Aries. It's been there for a while, so you can be a little older and still have your Chiron in Aries. And the North Node, the nodes of fate, the North Node juxtaposed to the South Node. The North Node is our future Dharma, our collective future Dharma. And our South Node is the past. So the North Node is in Aries. And that Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And so it is the expression of I amness. It's said that Pisces is the incubator of the unconscious and that primordial place from which our embodiment comes through Aries, that birth canal, Pisces, Aries. And we spring forth out of the void, I am. So we're in a collective consciousness of I amness. Like it's my dharma, my flourishing, my self-expression, my purpose in life, my light, my radiance, and all of that. We can't really go into a collective of respecting that in others if we fully haven't embodied that in ourselves. So this Chiron in Aries is giving us a chance to heal our really our hearts for the path of our new highest potential. For the path of our new highest potential. So if you think about that, we have a massive healing opportunity right now with this full moon energy in Virgo, and then this conjunction of Chiron, the wounded healer, with the North Node, our future destiny in Aries. And they're talking to each other about our healing. What is it that we are letting go of? It's a full moon. And what is it that we need to forgive in ourselves, reconcile in ourselves, in order to become the person that we really are? And I think we're all discovering that. It's quite fascinating because I'm witnessing before my eyes several people in my orbit, including myself, who are really becoming different people before my very eyes. And maybe you feel that way about yourself, like, I am just becoming a different person. Well, I think this is part of that transit that's actually going to be around through the entire month of March up to the solar eclipse in April. And it's even said beyond that. So I love that, because any kind of healing energy will be the salve that we need to transition to a new path. And we all know with Pluto in Aquarius and what's coming in 2025 of the changing of planets and just the movement, we are becoming new people, and we are embracing a new path. And Gene Key 37 talks about embracing the divine feminine and bringing more of that forward as we heal the wounds of the feminine. And this is what I call feminine reclamation, because it's time to shed even another layer. I know you've done a lot of work. All of us have done a lot of work. If you're listening to this, chances are you have. But it's just still more. It's more work to not work. I wouldn't even say it's happening naturally, but the allowance of it, to allow the wounds to come up of our voice, of being seen, of our medicine, of our importance, of our right to be here. And as the feminine, we can't really, I don't know that I can really, I'll speak for myself, wrap my arms around how deeply we have been suppressed, repressed, and maligned, because that's not my daily experience. But as I read a bunch of fiction, especially during this convalescence, and it's all historical fiction, I'm tuned into, just every culture and every way, the sexual abuse and repression, the denial of our voice and our gifts as the feminine. And so we're here to reclaim that. I think we have this mandate from all the women who came before us that whatever they suffered to keep the movement going so that we would be here in this evolutionary moment to truly reclaim the gifts of the feminine. And the gifts of the feminine they have a range, right? They range from this cosmic mother, divine mother archetype, the goddess Kuan Yin. I mean, that's one aspect, but she's also Kali Ma, and she'll chop your head off if you're out of line, because Kali Ma, but she does it for love. She'll chop your head off because it's ego, it's unconscious. So we're embracing both aspects. And yet there's also shadow to the feminine as well. So we're learning about the shadow feminine. We're learning about our repression. We're learning about the ways we lie and manipulate to stay alive. And we learn about the ways that we don't feel adequate to take care of ourselves. And we're hoping that someone will come and save us. So those are shadow frequencies, just a few of them. There's lots of those shadows. And that's really for us to, I call it, today in the sisterhood activation, I called it tagging and deleting it, because I just did a bunch of tagging and deleting in my email autoresponder. It's like you tag, and then you put them, set them aside, gather them all, and then hit the delete key. But what we have to realize is that a part of the healing process is not to leave a vacuum. We have to fill it back up. We have to fill it back up with spirit. And that's really where the Pisces axis comes from, because what feeds our embodiment is Pisces. It's that unconscious, it's spirit, it's the oneness, it's the remembering heaven and carrying it with us in our hearts. And so today, as you're listening to this, whatever day it is, it really doesn't matter, because the message is the same for this epoch, for this time, for this era, is to evoke the healing that needs to happen for your own rising as a feminine being, or if you're masculine listening to this, as the feminine inside of you, to come back to wholeness, to come back to truth, to come back to intuition and a gnosis that is beyond knowledge or information. So with that, I'm going to leave you with a blessed full moon in Virgo, and I'll see you on the next new moon video. Hopefully I'll actually see you. Okay. Lots of love.